The upstairs bedroom. Me and my family used to live in a two-floored house. The second floor was made of wood, while the first floor had been cemented down. However, I didn't quite understand at first why it was built this way. This was abroad. As a 7-year-old, I didn't pay much mind to it. At the time, it had only been me, my older sister, and a maid, since my parents were both working at the time and would often come home late at night. We had spent most of the day in the downstairs area, playing with toys, when my older sister asked me to go with her to the second floor. We'd never been up there because my parents had given specific instructions not to venture up there without them, but knowing my stubborn sister and her curiosity, she would go up there with or without me. I was reluctant at first since I was the scaredy cat out of the both of us, but she eventually persuaded me. Our mud was busy washing dishes. At the time, she didn't notice that we had left the living room to head up to the second floor. On our way up there, the floors were already creaking, and you could smell that it was old. When we saw the second floor, it had looked like time had stopped, and we were in a different period. The second floor seemed untouched. There was a rocking chair to the side of the room, next to a window and crib a few feet away, as well as a small cabinet. From the looks of it, it had obviously been a nursery. We started to look around as my sister walked over to try the rocking chair, then checked the crib. A few minutes had passed, and I had noticed my sister hadn't moved from where she stood. I walked up to her to see what was going on. She had been staring at what seemed like a large brown stain in the middle of a crib. As she went in to touch it, I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck begin to stand up. I felt this surge of panic and grabbed my sister by the collar and dragged her right out of there. I didn't know what it was that made me make a run for it while I dragged my sister with me, but something about the crib made me feel incredibly off, and only heightened when my sister went to touch it. That night, as we ate dinner, I confessed to my parents that we had explored the second floor despite being told not to, and was scolded as we ate. After everything had calmed down, I asked my mum why we were prohibited for being up there, since we were only going to live in the house for a couple months before we would eventually move out to our permanent home. We asked the owner the following day over the phone. Turns out the owner of the house had lost her daughter and grandchild in this same house on the second floor. She had come home to her psychotic husband, who had smothered their baby with a blanket because she wouldn't stop crying. As her daughter went to get her husband out of the way to grab her baby, he had been caught off guard and had elbowed her in the face, causing her to hit her head hard onto the floor. Her daughter and grandchild didn't survive the incident, and the husband was put in jail. The owner hadn't moved anything on the second floor since the incident, saying she felt something angry was up there since her daughter and grandchild's death. She had wanted to get the house renovated and have the second floor destroyed to turn it into a one-floor home, to hopefully be able to rent it out. Which is why she had hired my parents and allowed us to temporarily live here, but under strict instructions not to go to the second floor. She didn't disclose what had happened as it drove people away. Needless to say, we left that house earlier than the agreed stay and haven't been back there since.